Hello everyone and welcome to the Azure Dream Random Toolkit 2 State Display Edition Tournament. This is match 2, round 1. We're going to see Lady Deme facing off against DamagedPlushie. For those that are familiar with the first Random Toolkit tournament, everything from that applies. We're going to get a random familiar, random starting familiar, 5 random starting, well actually 4 random starting items. Will always be the same. You'll always end up getting some kind of a weapon, some kind of a shield, some kind of a spell ball, and a random egg. The main differences from the first tournament and this one is that spell ball that you're gonna get can also potentially be a random element, so no more just fireballs for attacking or any of that. Now you can also get water or wind elements, which is going to drastically change up some of the gameplay. You're also going to start with a blue collar, so there's potentially some fusion shenanigans going on, and hopefully we'll get to see some of that stuff. We also fiddled with a couple of the traps, and we'll get into that as we see things happen on screen. So today with me in commentary is Septic Tank, and he'll get us counted down shortly. So,
hello everybody.
Actually, let me get
go ahead and get the countdown going right now.
Let me get my chat window off to the side here real quick before things really get going. All right, so because we have a random starting familiar, it's a fun little thing that we like to do for commentary is to let chat go ahead and guess what they think they're going to see for their starting familiar. I believe in our last match we had a mule and a troll, actually. So I think personally I'd like to see something interesting, like, I don't know, maybe a noise. They can be kind of interesting. They get a decent spell, and if you level them up a couple times, they actually have some decent stat growth, so that could be kind of interesting to see. As for the egg, actually probably a cyclone might be pretty good with that, because I believe the noise has an AoE spell, so it's a little costly, so that can help out both of our runners quite a bit. So any moment now they should be moving on into the tower. We can find out what their starting items and familiars are. And as this is the beginning of a tournament, there are surely new metas to be had, but likely we're probably going to see the same scouring of the first 5 or so floors, looking for that items, building up the inventory and all of that. I guess that also does kind of depend on what their starting familiars and equipment are. That can drastically change how difficult or easy the tower climb can be in general, but we should find that out soon enough. Now, Septic, if you're here, I know you were talking earlier, would you like to go into a bit of background on our runners?
Certainly. So Lady Deme has been with the community for a very long time. She knows the game in and out. She's a very methodical player. Seems to get a little bit nervous on the higher floors, but for the most part, she can very well 4D. And Plushie, on the other hand, is actually a fairly new runner. She joined in the last tournament. And
oh no, a Garuda starter.
Oh wow.
Oh, what a way to kick off the first round of their matchup in round 1. This could be very, very interesting, or it could also be over very, very quickly, depending on how things play out. So do you think with having a Garuda starter, do you think they're even going to bother hatching the egg?
I think it should be hatched in case it's something like a Annapolis or something that could, just boost Garuda's ability. Then again, if they want to use it as an egg bomb, that's very fine in this scenario.
Yeah, exactly. There's definitely pros and cons to both. I do like the idea of potentially fusing it with something, especially something like maybe Annapolis or a block, or maybe less so a block, just because of having to restore its defense to really get any use out of it. But something like Annapolis or I mean, even a clown could be a decent fusion because the Garuda does have its spell unlocked. And it's just a zoo, so it's not going to be too much help. I mean, I guess you could use it for
Paralyzed Fur
paralysis.
for yeah, Paralyzed Fur for both the Garuda and Co can be extremely good.
Yeah, that might actually be worth considering. 'Cause, like paralyzed traps are, generally speaking, some of the worst traps. I know you can probably speak from a bit of experience with that, but oh, that's not good. Having the Garuda start off as water is also pretty nice, actually. Its default element is wind, which would make it kind of a bomb trap detector and very at risk in a lot of the floors on the tower for various reasons. But starting off with water, not only is it less susceptible to those bomb and slam traps and all of that good stuff, but it also makes climbing the early floors significantly easier because these tougher enemies like the flames, I mean, that was just an instant kill on Deme's side there. And the bonus of the Garuda's mixed magic is that it also doubles as a range attack if you command it from at least one tile away. You can hit something at a distance, and if you hit something that's not aggroed yet, it does actually have a chance to turn things around. So it's multi-use on top of the Garuda's already ridiculous ability to just teleport away on a whim.
And Plushie looks a little uncomfortable with having this Garuda. She should have just immediately took that level 2 on the first troll that she had, but for some reason she wanted to throw it away, and then she bagged Garuda, unbagged it. She's definitely not feeling super comfortable with it right now.
Yeah, playing with Garuda definitely takes a little getting used to on multiple levels because it is pretty much entirely game changing. Just being able to literally get out of pretty much any situation that you're thrown into with the abduct command changes the game up a bit, but also having it have a mixture magic right off the bat, I mean,
and a ranged one at that.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of changes the game in a whole other way because now you don't necessarily have to run away from everything. You could choose to fight, which, you know, the way that Garuda runs tend to go, you're usually fairly low level, so those higher floors are even more dangerous than they normally would be. So having the ability to actually fight some things is kind of a good thing. And we did see, I believe, both runners picked up a diamond. Yes, Deme actually equipped the diamond shield already, and both of them found a diamond. Deme actually also found a leather shield, which I'd like to see her use at some point. I think it's a good call using the diamond shield on these early floors, though.
It is. I think the copper is. I would say it's strong enough, especially with Garuda being water here. You're one-shotting with that mixture magic, so I honestly wouldn't have taken the chance at getting Curse or even wasted a Truth Glasses to see if it's equipable.
Yeah, and I do agree with that. Like you said, the copper shield is only 2 defense lower, I believe, somewhere around there. So it's not terribly worse than the diamond shield. As far as defense goes, it's really only going to negate 1 extra point of damage, the way that the damage calculations work. It is its main benefit is that it's unrustable. So if you're playing like a casual style thing, you can pretty safely put blue sands on it without having to worry about it being rusted or any of that stuff. So it did end up paying off for her. She does get that extra bit of defense without having it be cursed, though. So it worked out this time for her.
And that's the beauty of Azure Dreams. The best decision is not always what I would say is the smart decision. It's just, you're playing odds.
Yeah, exactly.
So like, it could be risky to you're risking Curse by equipping it, and you probably don't need it, but it is still better. So equipping it is simply the right decision if you know it's not cursed.
Yeah, and it is playing Azure Dreams just as a whole is a fine balance of speed and conserving versus using items, when to do things, when not to do things, and doing it as quickly as possible. And in a tournament setting, that is, I mean, just even further stressed because you only get the one chance. You go down on floor 7 and that's it.
And Plushie is in go mode already. She's jumping straight for these elevators.
Yeah, and so far it's working out pretty nice for her. I mean, she's still only level 3, which is kind of
7.
low level, but with the Garuda mixed magic, I mean, she's fairly able to deal with these things. And
I don't know if
Deme,
she's able to calculate this, but yeah, she can kill this balloon. As long as she doesn't miss. Actually, the second attack of that ranged magic from Garuda, can that miss?
I don't think so, because there was earlier
Another wind one can.
one of the runners did actually miss with the physical attack and still hit with the magic part of it. I'm
Okay,
not
so
actually sure if it can miss or not. We did see Plushie actually use one of the new things in this tournament. That Noah sled ball is new. It's not new in that it's like a new addition to the randomizer, but it is new to the tournament. And essentially, what that is it's just the wind version of that particular spell, sled. So the sled spell is like the default spell of the flames. And there are a few other monsters that can get sled through fusion and unlocking hidden spells and whatnot. But that is the wind version of it. So it's a little bit safer to climb on some of these early floors, the 6 through 9. You have a little bit of added safety from the blooms, the U-boats, all that. The Manivas in particular, especially on the higher floors when water monsters end up becoming particularly scary. That'll come in handy. This is a particularly nasty looking room for Plushie.
she can take 2 hits. Even the Garuda could take 1 of the hits. Oh, that's annoying. That's very annoying. But it's Plushie. Just go for the lift. That being said, Plushie has some insane luck when it comes to lifting. She, I would say, is averaging out probably a 90% lift rate.
Yeah, just historically speaking, Plushie has had some insane lift luck through last tournament. I've been witness to some of her practicing, and she is just like the lift queen when it comes to that kind of thing, which kind of plays well with the Garuda style, where you just kind of lift things, toss them away instead of having to abduct away all the time. It can save a bit of time instead of, especially if you're like starting in the elevator room, something's liftable. Even though you are low level, you might be able to take that one hit from something and, save a bit of time from having to warp around it and find your way back. But we do see Wooga, of all people, who needs levels with the Garuda. I think generally speaking, most people are gonna want some levels at least. Because like I said, you can spawn, like, Deme's actually just gotten to the same room that Plushie was on a few moments ago. In an awful room like this, you can take a hit or two and not have to abduct away and try and find your way back. Now granted, you might be able to get back like immediately, but it is also random, like most things in this game. So being able to use multiple strategies is always a nice thing. Anyway, oh, Plushie's stocking up on some wake-up herbs. Is this some secret tactic that I don't know about?
She might just. I think she just picked up everything that she could.
And that makes sense, yeah.
And
Do you...
either way, they will be able to be used as a little bit of MP for Garuda. He doesn't need a whole lot, but she also has 2 PETAs, so she's probably good on that.
I see in the state display window that Deme actually picked up an egg at some point. Now it's too low to be another Garuda or anything, but should her Garuda fail
That's her
her...
zoo egg.
Oh, she didn't hatch the zoo. Okay. I want to say,
Yeah,
should
she
the zoo
hasn't
fail
hatched
her,
the zoo.
she might have an opportunity to have a U-boat, which is not nearly as good, but also still pretty good.
And there was a bomb trap.
Yeah. That medicinal herb is a nice find, actually.
And plus, she took that medicinal herb and immediately gave 1 extra HP to the Garuda.
I mean,
1 extra max HP.
there's definitely something to be said about that. I don't know if I would have necessarily done that, but giving the Garuda a little bit of extra survivability isn't a bad thing by any means.
Oh, absolutely not. If I find Chimeral Seeds, like, even though defense isn't... A single point of defense is not much at all, I still give it to the Garuda just in case, you know, that 1 HP dream hit. Or the Chimeral Seed actually makes that difference.
Yeah, and like you said, it's not really going to be all that often, but any little bit that you can do for survivability, especially in a tournament setting, is worth it. I mean, I don't know if I would go so far as to use a bunch of blue sands that I find, but you know, if you got that shield that's like 3 defense, you know, upping it to 4 can actually make a tiny difference, and it can be worth it. Maybe. You never know.
And another max HP.
And she's got 2 trap loops as well on Plushie's side. Those can definitely come in handy. She likely does not want to hit the fabled go down trap. We did see, I think we saw 2 or 3 of them in the previous match, my match against Chai earlier this week. None of them actually went off though, so we didn't actually get to see them in action. But they can be kind of interesting just for the simple fact that I hope you remember the last floor you were on pretty well, because essentially going to be the same floor. So if you had happened to find any good items, maybe spell balls or I don't know, a couple holy scrolls or something, you know, you can potentially find those again. Now there are a few caveats that I don't think we fully understand. You can also potentially farm for eggs doing the same thing because of the way that the egg system works. I don't think it's particularly worthwhile to do that, but it is an option. We'll see how that... Maybe somebody will come up with a super cool strategy of farming an egg on Garuda floors. Who knows?
I love seeing the way these players are actually taking this Garuda. They're not always abducting.
Yeah, it
They
is
are
definitely interesting
doing a
to
little bit of
see.
traveling around at first. Once they run into a situation, that's whenever they're choosing to abduct. And I do like seeing that. In many ways, it can cause extra chances for walking onto traps because you're actually going through the rooms. But Garuda's abductability to take you directly to the exit is not... Let's just say it generally takes a lot more than 1 abduct.
Yeah, it's not, you know, I mean, it can be reliable in a sense, but it can also feel real bad when you have to abduct 30 times to get where you're going. I mean, it is what it is. That's what Azure Dreams is based off of, and that's why we love the game so much. Plushie finding truth glasses. What is she gonna choose to use it on? I would have to agree on the Noah sled there. Knowing
we're using it,
exactly how many charges
definitely.
you have, yeah. Being able to know exactly how many charges of a particular attack spell in particular is really, really nice. Especially on the floors that she's about to come up to with some particularly strong water monsters. Or, I mean, even Garuda, with the starter being a water Garuda, the wild Garudas will also be susceptible to that as well. And we all know that Garudas are worth a nice bit of XP, so... Especially on Plushie side, where she's only level 4, she is pretty low level for this point, so... She might want to opt to do that at some point if she gets the chance to.
It's actually in a little bit of a situation. How hard is this Maneva gonna hit her? She needs to make sure.
If she can get the high ground, she should definitely be alright. I mean, it's gonna hurt.
Yeah, it's still half of her health. She can't take another hit, and the exits are right there, and she can't get to that exit without taking another hit.
She also cannot bind it to get a free turn because the bind spell is the only spell that is actually affected directly by its element, in that it only works unless it's in its default bind state where it's wind. It'll work against everything. If it is La Bind or Lee Bind, it will only work on whatever enemy type it is strong against. So La Bind will only work on wind monsters. And it also it's not as potent as the standard one would be as well. The normal standard one would give you 3 turns of free movement. Technically 4, because it doesn't stop you from getting hit when you use it. But the off versions only give you 1 turn of free movement. So it's not something that you really want to rely on particularly. I mean, it's great for like liftable monsters. Like she could have actually, it wouldn't have even worked on a Picket. Now that I think about it, with their
she doesn't have the high ground here.
Ooh, that hurts. If
I
only
think
she had some medicinal herbs.
I think at this point, oh no, not right now. Yeah, just abduct out of there. I think at this point she's definitely going to want to spend even 2 Noah sleds if she has to.
Oh,
that's even worse.
Yeah, that spider is scary.
Yeah, spend like 2 Noah sleds on a Maneva or a spider or something just to get those levels. She absolutely needs them. She's walking around where a slam trap or a bomb trap could kill her. Oh, yoink.
Deme actually got pretty lucky with that abduct there. Took her right next to a sleeping Garuda in the elevator. It's pretty nice.
Has she been doing unsafe abducts?
I think for the most part they've both been doing the safe abduct. Ooh, that's the really unsafe version of the abduct there.
Yeah, I've only seen her do 2 abducts so far. And both times she stood in place. That time she did a swing.
Yeah, and for those that aren't aware, walking into the Garuda's abduct is the safe method in that... Ooh.
Yeah.
In that things like what just happened on Deme's side generally won't happen unless you get extremely unlucky. But what Deme did the last 2 abducts where she swung into the air before being abducted is actually very, very unsafe in that wherever you land, the monsters on the floor will get 2 turns immediately. Which is why her Garuda took a hit there from the Mule.
I actually did not know that. I thought it just guarantees that they're gonna hit you if you land next to them. I didn't know they get 2 turns.
Yeah,
I did notice that Noelle did walk up and then hit. And that kind of
Yeah,
confused me.
I'm
I
not
thought she was
sure.
flow trapped.
I'm not sure why it's like that, but Chai, when he had discovered the walk into strat, was looking into doing. I think Sandlight's the one that found the really bad version, which makes sense. But I believe Chai was looking into it at some point and discovered that it was swinging, and I believe it also matters whether you can swing and hit something, and it will only give them one turn. But if you swing and miss or swing at nothing, they get 2 turns when you land. And like I said, I don't really know why it's like that. I don't think Chai does either. We'd have to ask him. But we're seeing some pretty good times from both runners. Plushie's on floor 20 at 22 minutes. Deme's timer isn't even on screen. So, but she's on floor 17, which is pretty good. Especially with all
they're
the
going. They're
fighting
going
that
at a
she's
good
been doing.
pace, for sure.
Oh, and that's the case of the Labine spell not working because of the being the wrong element. And like I said before, the bind spell is the only one that applies to that. The sleep spell will change its animation, and it might be more or less effective depending on element, but it will work against any monster. For whatever reason, the bind spell is the only one that's really picky about that kind of thing. So the bind one is definitely the one that you want to find in its default version. And clearing out some wake up herbs for just another recovery ball.
I mean, that
Inventory-wise,
ball is probably not going to be much use considering Groot only has 22 HP.
yeah, especially if he takes a hit from something wind-based like that unicorn, he's probably not going to be able to survive that one hit anyway. So, I mean,
I don't even think at this point he can survive a Viper
Oh
hit.
no! Ooh, that hurt really bad on Deme's side, teleporting into Maneva. Only 9 HP left. It's a good thing she leveled up a bit beforehand. Inventory-wise, though, honestly, Deme doesn't really have a whole lot to work with. She has a couple medicinal herbs. She has the Labine spell and a zoo egg. But she doesn't really have a lot, like, to deal with problems outside of Gerudo. Not yet, anyway. On the other hand, Plushie actually
which is
has
a pretty good solution.
I mean, yeah. It doesn't really get much better than just flying away. But on Deme or Plushie actually has 2 wind balls and a holy bell and a Mahel seed. She has actually a fairly decent inventory built up, with actually a fairly decent lead at 7 floors ahead at this point. She's still only level 4 though. She is in very grave danger if she runs into anything face first.
Yeah, like that's my biggest worry right now for Plushie is that even though she has these 2 Noah sleds, unless she actually makes use of them before a mistake could happen, she could be dead in just like 1 hit from anything.
Yeah, exactly. And at this point, with her only being level 4, even if she does hit something water-based like a Viper, it's probably going to take her 2 charges to kill it anyway, so she's going to need a little bit of space. And Deme, oh, it's just a weak ball on Deme's side. That kind of sucks. Okay, and we didn't get the angry herb glitch, so that's also a good thing. What are we seeing? What is she gonna do? She's gonna duck away? Oh. Very nice.
That
And it's in
was
the
very
doorway.
convenient.
That was pretty much perfect, yeah. I love when that happens. You just casually teleport behind something in your way. Like, continuing on. So, okay, Deme forgot to start her timer, so it was just removed temporarily. I understand.
Yeah, so what I want to see here from Plushie, like there's a Mandara. That is the perfect target for just getting some levels right now.
Yeah, they don't really have a ton of HP. It's what, 55 or so?
55, correct. They have a pretty decent defense. Like they could probably still take more than one charge to kill at her level from the Noah Breath.
Ooh.
But I would use them anyways, just for the simple fact that it might still only be one charge.
And Deme with the slowdown, even if she did do the safe abduct, it still wouldn't really be all that safe with the half speed going on. Oh, and a blinder trap to boot.
Does she have a roam?
She does
Oh,
not.
she
That
does.
At least she's not slow anymore, so there's that. And healing the Garuda up, I approve of this. Very much so. Meanwhile, Plushie pulling ahead even further. Floor 29. She's actually going faster than floor 30 even. She's actually going faster than a floor a minute at this point.
Yeah, floor 30 at 28:30.
Yeah, that's incredibly fast. And only at level 4. I need to stress how incredibly dangerous this is for Plushie. Like even the weakest enemies on these floors, the Tyrants or the Maneva, could likely kill her in one hit. And definitely kill the Garuda in one hit, even with it being elemental advantage, or well, I guess disadvantaged on the attack. And she just passed the elevator. Did she not say it? Oh, but an item room. That could be good. Loops and a ball.
Oh, she sees it now.
She sees it. She definitely sees it now. And floor 22 for Deme. What is she going to do about this unicorn? Alright, abducting away.
What else would you do?
Good choice, good choice.
Oh, Belto floor.
Oh, right next to an elevator too. It doesn't really get much better than that. Yeah, and no enemy? Yeah, it doesn't get any better than that. Floor 32 immediately on Plushie's side. What is this spell? Just a recovery ball for Deme. Not particularly useful, but she'll take it anyway, just in case. She does have a holy bell as well, so if she spawns in a room with the elevator and some particularly nasty monsters, that's not really an issue anymore.
And also,
An egg.
she has a Noah Breath now.
She does, and she's over double Plushie's level, so she can actually get some decent use out of that. Ooh, Plushie finding a blinder ball though. Suddenly her level 4 doesn't matter as much.
As long as she doesn't faceplant into anything. It's
Yeah.
still a very real possibility. I've done it so many times.
Oh, I have too, my friend.
Just trying to go fast, and then all of a sudden, oh, there was a tyrant hiding behind that wall
Yeah, and the game
as
does
I
try
enter the
to help
room.
you in some ways to not do that when you're sprinting around, because it does slow down significantly when something comes within a certain amount of tiles. But like you said, you walk into a room or something, well, killer's behind that corner, and all of a sudden you are no longer alive. Another holy bell. Very nice. Very nice.
So yeah,
Especially
looking
with
at Plushie's
Garuda.
inventory is she's got everything she needs.
Yeah, yeah, she does. She has a couple Mahel seeds. She has some attack balls. She has that egg bomb. And I mean, do you really need anything more than just a Garuda, though?
No, no, you don't really. But having that extra stuff definitely helps because, like, if she spawns into a room on the next floor, oh, that glacier, don't walk in line with it. Just get out of there. I don't like that. But yeah, with all that inventory stuff, like what they do help with is if you see the elevator, you like spawn into a room, say like with the elevator, but there's a bunch of monsters around. You could Holy Bell and just walk to the elevator. But with Garuda, if Garuda's your only option, you gotta spend a lot of time re-navigating the map after abducting out of that situation.
Yeah, actually, having holy bells with the Garuda is actually really, really nice. In that, if you're just playing with a normal familiar with, mixed magic and all that stuff, holy bells more often than not are kind of useless to you unless like you're like using it in a spawn room or something, because they don't work at all in hallways. With the Garuda's ability to instantly take you to a random room, suddenly they become a lot more useful. So having a small stockpile of those is actually pretty nice. Like more so than it normally would be. Ooh, and another spell ball. Not even interested in the spell ball.
With
Another
that
one.
inventory, I agree with that.
This one, another Noah breath ball.
Yeah, get a PETA.
Is
One
she?
PETA and this Garuda is good for the rest of the tower.
Yeah, she can even get rid of, or she can get rid of that zoo as well. It's not gonna do her any good at this point. If she needed this space, of course. I mean, she could also fuse it, but then it would turn her Garuda wind, which, as we stated before, is... I mean, it's not the end of the world, but it's not really something you want if you can help it either. Though that paralyze proof.
Yeah, paralyzed for like. I'm a little surprised to not see either of these runners because like we went with Plushie over these passive traits from different monsters, and so I definitely would have figured that she would have picked up to just going ahead and making that fusion. Oh, the go down
Yeah.
trap.
And Deme actually bagged her Garuda and then turned into a frog. That's very uncool, game.
I think the item spawns are different.
I
She
think
didn't
they
truth
are as
anything
well.
else.
No, yeah, she didn't get a pair of truth glasses last time. But she didn't remember exactly where the elevator was, so... Net
Let's just hope she
positive?
remembers where that go down was.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, and that's another thing. That go down trap will be in the same spot, and if she takes the same steps as she did last time she hit it, it'll go off again.
Right in here. Okay, yeah, she's not going.
Alright. So, net positive, I guess? She got a truth glass out of it.
Yeah, and she now knows how many blinders she has, which is her catch-all solution if Garuda isn't there to be the catch-all. Oh,
Oh, Whoa, that could have been so bad.
That's the 1 in a million thing that can get you hit.
Yeah. And Deme hitting floor 30 at 36:30. Dude, both runners are doing very well.
Yeah, this is a good pace for both runners. Like, they're both on a really good pace. Obviously, a minute a floor.
Oh, the go down trap on Deme's side as well. Luckily, she can just casually walk right back to the elevator like nothing ever happened. Oh, uh-oh, that misstep, that's gonna hurt.
That she can survive the hit
Yeah,
from
she can
the
definitely take the
snowman,
hit,
but
yeah. It's not
it
gonna
just
feel
feels
good.
bad. She has a medicinal, so she should just walk onto it, take the hit. Yeah, she has 2 holy bells and a Garuda, but like, I still
mean,
the
yeah.
medicinal is less worth to me than a holy bell.
All that really matters in the end is that she made it out alive. So let's hope that doesn't turn around to bite her being down that holy bell.
Logo here says, "Good call in my opinion. Crit would have been a death." Yeah, that's the type of odds I'm willing to play around though.
Yeah, if it was
But you're
it
right.
pink?
Like, she made the guaranteed play, and
Yeah.
technically mine wouldn't have been.
I wonder, with her being only level 9, I wonder if the zoo would have been enough to take out the that snowman. Somehow I don't think it would be, because snowmen are actually pretty tanky. Oh, okay, okay. Still free, still free. Much scarier than Plushie's floor 31, but still free.
Yeah, so while this tower is generated to be specifically the same for both players, the caveat of Beldo floor,
Oh no,
oh,
32, and Deme is
and Deme's
down.
down.
That is really unfortunate because they were both doing really well. But that is Azure Dreams for you. One unfortunate trap can, I mean, that can be it.
We'll go
So
and
we
let her
will,
finish if she wants to.
yeah, we'll give Plushie the option to try and get to 40 if she would like to, and then we'll get on with round 2. So let me give Plushie her Pita Fruit. So I do think that Plushie looks pretty good for going to 40 in this climb. Her inventory is pretty solid. She still has her Garuda up. And realistically, she's not really going to be fighting much or anything on these floors anyway. She has that blinder ball, she has an Olim, and a Holy Bell. And I guess a Labind. In worst case scenario, she can do Labind on a Golem or something. Like right here, maybe. But at this point, those Noah balls are kind of worthless to her. She's so low level, they're not gonna... I mean, she could still kill something with it, but... Ooh, that was nice. But now there's a dragon coming.
Just a lean.
Yeah, I think,
The elevator being right there, that's where, like, even though you have Garuda and you can just get out for free, that's just one of those situations where you're better off spending your resources. Just remove the object and take the elevator. Although in this tournament, it's
ooh,
an interesting dynamic because you can always end up back on that floor.
one more to go. Can she do it? Ooh,
I have complete faith.
What a terrible room.
But will the tower
And she
allow it?
has a Holy Bell. It's free. It's free. She has a Holy Bell. She doesn't even need it. Oh.
She doesn't use it.
And GG's to Plushie on her 40 climb. we'll go ahead and get the runners set up for their second seed, get them counted down. But in the meantime, chat, do we have any guesses for what the starting familiar egg? I mean, pretty much anything really. What are the starting weapons and shield gonna be if you want to get that into it? Picket. I want to say that we've actually seen that in the last tournament before. Or no, I guess it wasn't picket, but it was like picket in the egg for every seed. So that, I mean, pickets aren't really all that bad. With being able to start with the blue collar, depending on what your starter monster is. Being able to pass over that double speed, or I mean, even being able to just use it to change element or something, can be pretty nice. And I guess worst case scenario, you could unlock a spell, or I guess you could transfer a spell to it and just go ham with it being able to eat anything off of the floor. I'm not happy about it, but you know, it's a thing that somebody might do at some point. I think this time metal and arachne egg, yeah, that could be pretty good actually. I think I would like to see, I don't know, something melee fighter, just because generally speaking, you're using mixed magic all the time. So I think seeing a melee fighter could be kind of nice. So maybe an arachne or a killer, or dare I say a Batnell. But if I say Batnell, chances are they're gonna get a kid or a dragon in the egg, and then neither of them are gonna use it. So if we're looking at seed 2055 on both sides.
That's correct.
All right. Minev and U-boat. Minev is really not something I want to see as as a starter if I don't have to. The U-boat is a nice being with the blue collar, being able to just use it on the side whenever you need to. Very, very nice. Maxi Cyclone. That could be pretty good actually. I mean, even a Golem, they're pretty decent melee fighters and super tanky to boot.
I love my boy Golem.
As far as like the maximum goes, it actually has a decent mixture magic as well, so it's kind of versatile in that sense, where the Golem isn't so much. I mean, it does have the AoE spell, which is a bit expensive, but generally, I mean, the Golem's not bad. It's not my like first choice, or even my third choice, but you know, it's not terrible either. Tune is technically possible, yes. The only thing that you are unable to get from the starter or egg is a Haikun, and that is because um, there are ways that you can uh, transfer his spell to other monsters, and doing so makes the game a bit buggy and prone to crashing and soft locking, and we don't really have any way around that. So Haikun is banned from the tournament outside of, picking it up on the top floor. So that is not something we'll see, but pretty much anything else is a possible combination. And you can actually kind of have an idea with Kuhn specifically, if the egg that you pick up on floor 1 doesn't have a name, it could potentially be a Kuhn or any other evolved monster like a Saber or Death or Badnell or any of those things. The Ifrit. It can also be a Kuhn. And as far as I'm aware, they don't have names because they're not supposed to be in an egg or something along those lines. So it kind of gives away some of what can be in the that potential egg.
I got the countdown started. They should be off on the races once again
Alright.
soon.
Alright, so we got a few guesses in from chat. What do you want to see, Septic, for the starters? Any egg?
I would love to see Saber. Just
I think I know what you're getting at with the Saber, but also, I mean, Saber's actually a pretty decent familiar as far as fighters go. Maybe not so much on the mixture magic side, it's not liftable either, so it does have a couple things going against it, but it's got that break obstacles is just a flat out amazing attack. It's a little costly as far as MP goes, but Saber also has some decent stat gains, so he can be a pretty decent melee fighter.
yeah, Saber is definitely pretty decent. I just know Plushie has had Saber pop up so many times in her practices, and she does not like it.
Kraken.
Kraken's
I
spell is
believe
the
that's,
paralyzed blind one.
yeah, I believe it's the blade mix magic, which is the paralyze, blind, or extra damage. And we're gonna see what
Sleep.
element it is shortly. Something seems to have gone wrong on Deme's side with her state display. Hopefully we can get that fixed quickly.
On Kraken is water.
Okay. Oh, a dark sword. And a regular binding ball. Very, very nice. And a unnamed egg. So that could potentially be that saber that you wanted.
Yeah, but I don't know which way she would go. Like, Saber doesn't naturally have a spell, I don't think. Not much needs to be said.
Yeah.
I cursed it.
Is she even going to go with the Kraken? They both have the same spell.
Oh, do they?
And they do. I mean, yeah, they have the exact same spell. They're both water elements, so.
But does Snowman or Saber, is the spell already unlocked by default?
It is.
Okay.
As far as I'm aware, any monster that can transform will automatically have its spell unlocked. And it
Well,
looks
this should be very
like
interesting.
Deme is gonna go with the Kraken. Is she going fusion shenanigans? Okay. Okay.
Giving Saber Reflect.
Yeah, and not the best ability by any stretch of the imagination, but you know,
It's
it'll help.
there.
Yeah, it'll help. Anytime that saber takes a hit, it's gonna reflect some of that damage back. So, oh, okay. I thank you, Plushie, for switching to the red collar. Much appreciated.
I would like to see both of these runners go ahead and switch off of AI 3 and go to
Yeah,
AI 2 to save their magic, as well as probably even do more damage. Like, they got a dark sword.
yeah, this particular spell is pretty slow as far as animation goes. And I mean, they have a dark sword, so they don't really need it anyway. So it'd definitely be much faster, to say the least, to not use it. And it's actually worth noting that Saber came out of that fusion with less MP than it went into it with, because the Kraken only had a max of 70. So that kind of sucks.
That does. with the start, and like if she does start to abuse the break obstacle, it does cost I think 4 MP
Yeah, I think it's
per
4.
swing, so you could drain your MP very fast with that. But this Dark Sword is really gonna help. She's already switched off of AI3.
Okay, how many different types of eggs are there, and which is the strongest? Um,
I think there's 49 or
yeah,
50
I don't
monsters.
actually, off the top of my head, I'm not sure how many monsters are in the game. There's more in the book that are for like mini games and stuff like the bowling pin and everything like that. As far as encounterable monsters in the tower, pretty much everything can be turned into an egg that you can see by default, except for the dragon. It's the only evolved monster in the tower. So anything that you see in the tower could potentially be in an egg. In this particular tournament, literally any monster except for Haikun and the aforementioned minigame related things and a frog can all potentially be in an egg. And as far as the best monster goes, that is very subjective to different runners and casual play, and there's very different best monsters for different things as well. Generally speaking, like as for physical fighters, you're gonna want to see like an Arachne or a killer or maybe even a golem in some situations. As far as mixture magic goes, that's even more subjective because you have things like the clown that can double your spell level. But then you also have different mixture magics on like a bloom in particular, which is a fond one of community member Sand Knight with its mixture magic unlocked and turning a wind element. It can 100% stun an enemy as long as it's not immune to stun. So it's very, very subjective on what the best monster is.
I would say best all rounder might be Dragon.
Yeah, and it is, that is a fair point. As far as like an all-rounder thing goes, Dragon is definitely up there, top 2 or 3 at worst. With its stat gains, it has a decent spell. The way you would get it in a normal playthrough, it would still be liftable. It has pretty much everything going for it that you would want in a familiar. As far as looks go, though, I think my personal favorite is a Batmel, which also has a kind of a few interesting things that you can de-level it and make it have maximum attack and defense and all that good stuff. So I hope I was able to answer your question sufficiently, Ghost Wizard. Yeah, and depending on who you ask, their favorite monsters, maybe a Picket. I don't know how that could ever be a thing, but you know, to each their own. So back to the match at hand. Deme with 2 trap loops and a malicious scroll. Very, very nice.
I definitely want to see these trap loops getting dumped almost immediately on like a new floor. I mean, maybe on these first 5 floors, not so much, because it really comes down to if the previous floor had anything good that was lootable. I think there's an argument to just be like, don't use the trap loop if you happen to hit a go down. You can reloot those good things, but in the end, like, I used to use trap loops pretty much in hopes for a go up. Now you want to use it so that you can make sure to avoid the go down.
Downs. Yeah. Now, yeah, there used to be one trap that was actually good to find, and now we took that away. You don't want to really see any traps.
I wouldn't say. I mean, depending on the circumstances, but like, I wouldn't say warp traps are necessarily something you don't want
Well,
to find.
it's also very situational when it comes to things like that.
Yeah, running around with a saber or
You don't,
kraken,
you don't want to
you
find a
don't want
warp
to hit
trap
it.
right next to the elevator, for example. Whoa, was that? That was a normal attack, right? Only 6
Yeah,
damage.
that was
Okay.
normal.
See, that should have done easily close to 20 damage. And picking up
She's in a bit of a situation. It looks like she can just walk in now, but go for the break obstacle.
with the dark
I
sword, I
guess you
don't.
don't need to.
Well, she is kind of low on HP. I'm gonna say with a dark sword, I don't know if I'd even really worry about it too much. Oh man, that monster,
That room is
that
just.
little monster train there. Thankfully, none of them actually aggroed onto her, so she was able to just walk away from it.
And here they are again.
Deme is building up quite the inventory now. 2 malicious scrolls and a holy bell added to, or another malicious and a holy bell added to her inventory now.
And an
She's
extra
looking pretty
binding ball.
solid, yeah. Yeah, with the extra binding ball, only on floor 4, she's looking pretty solid. And her saber's actually fallen a little bit behind in level. I think that's mostly because of she used a trap loop and was hitting the traps, which only gives co-experience.
Did she not start with the Kraken as well?
Yeah, she did also start with the Kraken.
And they're not fused. She still has the Kraken in her inventory.
Yeah, just toss away that wind crystal. That is not needed at all. This dark sword making the first 5 climb significantly easier. I would hazard to guess they're probably not gonna want to hold on to it for terribly long though, because the dark sword is, I mean, as seen on Deme's side, they're highly inaccurate.
It is. The Dark Sword actually has the least accuracy of all the weapons in the game. And Deme's definitely feeling that accuracy. I've seen her miss like 3 times now.
Yeah, I think, was it at best the dark sword is like 90% at best, and at worst it's like 75 or so.
Yeah, at worst I do know it's 75%.
And typically speaking, if you find a dark sword, it's always going to be cursed, so your luck is going to be on the lower end anyway. So it's really strong sword as far as damage goes, but it's also very, very inaccurate. Not something you want to have to rely on. But it definitely makes the early floors easier. Getting up to floor 10 or so is made significantly easier.
Yeah, the occasional miss is whatever whenever you're pretty much one-hitting everything after level 2.
Right. But once you start getting into, volcanoes, Kraken, Griffin territory, suddenly those misses, they mean a lot. And they're not something that you ever want to see.
Which, speaking of which, Plushie's on floor 8.
Yeah,
Deme
she
on
is.
floor 7. They're getting to that point.
Yeah, they really are, and Okay, okay. I was wondering if Deme was gonna maybe go for a lift here, which okay. I mean, she can definitely go for a lift now with binding it. I don't know how much it's really gonna help her, depending on what is further down that path there. Her Saber taking quite a beating here.
And she goes for bagging it. I like that.
Yeah, it's one less thing you have to worry about, taking hits and maneuvering around. She can always pull it back out when she gets to the next floor, whenever she gets a chance. Yeah, there's nothing even in this room except for the elevator. She can pull that out. Maybe
Pull it
she
out
gets
and
a
let it
few
heal a little bit.
turns. Yeah. Ooh, there's an egg on floor 9 on Plushie's side here.
Oh, that could be a U-boat or a clown.
Yeah, both of which are pretty good. I mean, Clown maybe less. No, actually, Clown would still be pretty good. It would pass the lowdown spell to the Saber and double its magic level, so it would be a pretty good physical fighter and a pretty good mixed magic user as well. It would be wind element though. She does have a CC, so she could immediately turn it back to water if she wanted to. Which with the floor she's about to be entering, I would highly recommend doing.
Yeah, that double magic level will be far more worthwhile than the reflect damage from the Kraken
Yeah,
effect.
exactly.
Question is she even gonna bother hatching it?
That is the question, because there are some kind of junky monsters that you don't really want to get on that it could be on these floors, like a balloon or a bloom. You might even be able to get Dreamins. I'm not really sure when they start. They might start on 10 or 11. There's a lot of monsters you really don't want to see as well, so kind of playing the lottery for two specific ones for different reasons. With the pace that she's on, this is a bit of a slower seed, only hitting floor 10 at 16 minutes on Plushie's side. She might be feeling behind and feel like it's not worth going for the hatch.
Yeah, but it is one of those things, like that egg was on the way to the elevator. And I think Deme did actually come across it, so like...
Yeah, she just picked it up, that Cinnabar egg in her inventory.
Yeah, so there comes to the question of whether your opponent found that egg and whether they hatched it. If they're running around with a U-boat, they could easily have that speed advantage.
Yeah, and there are two good points brought up in chat. Sand Knight says about Thunderblade, which is a valid option. If she were to get something like that clown, turn wind, that D wall would be 100% paralyzed, which for most things on these floors, even though she would be susceptible to the fire element, she would also be able to just stun them. And with a dark sword, she would actually be able to kill them in a few turns. So that wouldn't necessarily be the worst thing in the world. And Shoni said about comparing the paces between games. Last game they did have a Garuda, which is very, very true. And with this only being the second match of the tournament, we can't really establish like what is a fast or not pace. So it's a good point.
There are definitely some significant differences that this random toolkit tournament brings to the table, along with state display, which is arguably going to help runners go a little bit faster as well as they get used to it. So, yeah, we can't really tell what is like an expected pace, I guess you could say, but in the end, I would say 36 minutes to clear the tower, it doesn't really matter the scenario. That's still a good pace.
Yeah, that's fast regardless. Both runners, unfortunately, dealing with a cursed leather shield. And with that dark sword, not really doing them any favors, but we'll see.
It's just a dream, and Deme. Don't worry about it.
So, Septic, if you were in these runners' shoes, would you bother hatching the egg, or would you hold on to it?
19 minutes at floor 11. I would probably feel like I'm just already too far behind to actually go for the hatch. At least not, you know, an egg on floor 9. If I find a egg on floor 12 or something here, that one I would go to hatching. I might wait a floor or two hoping for truth glasses so that I can keep my speed. But in the end, I'm going to hatch that because, well, at this point, I would probably even say I might need Guru to reach 40 in terms of time. Not so much in terms of inventory. The inventories are looking pretty good. Oh, Plushie 2 failed list. Binding ball.
Ooh, yeah. Yeah, she has options. She has Tumna, Olim. She could try that egg bomb. Unfortunately, that holy bell won't work as she's in the doorway. And that Griffin
doing some funny stuff.
Okay, yeah.
Break obstacle.
Yeah,
Break
now
the
that you have
place.
high ground, break obstacle. Deme fighting literally blind. Her Saber not looking good at all.
Or just Olim it. Bind it and throw it away. Oh yeah, blonde situation.
And
This is
she opts to bag it and take the damage herself. Oh, and she comes out on top. Alright, everything worked out. Oh, and now a bowl troll out of nowhere. Oh no. At least she does know that she's in line with it. It looked like it came from diagonally up from her. At least... Oh, maybe it's behind her. I don't know. It's definitely in line with her somewhere, so she could try and throw a holy scroll or something at it. She has a holy bell. Unfortunately, she doesn't have a
Does she
medicinal or
remember the
anything.
rune look? Okay.
Ooh, and right next to the go down trap of all things.
Yeah, you don't want to walk in line with that
She
spell at all.
does have a fireball, so that clown isn't necessarily an issue. But yeah, she's sitting on low health for these floors with no way to heal herself other than skipping turns. Her Saber's looking pretty roughed up as well.
Right now, she just needs to de-aggro this clown. The elevator is south of the clown.
She does have a fireball. She could just kill it. Ooh,
That
oh,
is
and
not in line. Now it's in line.
the
But
tile.
now she doesn't want to spend another ball.
Yeah, I can
It feels
understand that. Yeah. It can be hard to tell how things are actually oriented just by looking at them because of the way that some of the tiles can line up. Especially if you're looking at them from a couple tiles away. It can look like you can skip a step going around corners or something, but not realize that they're not even connected at all and it's a totally separate hallway. I can understand missing a fireball charge every now and then. It sucks, but she dealt with it. And she's rewarded with a Tumna fruit now.
I would go ahead and maybe use that medicinal herb. Just to feel a little bit safer. I mean, she's not in danger of dying to a slam trap, I don't think anymore. But like,
No. Yeah.
these floors could be rough. Like a random rise comes out of nowhere.
Assuming she doesn't miss, she should be able to kill a volcano in, I would assume, 2 hits with that mixed magic. So both her and the familiar should be fine with. Oh. And it's unfortunate with the miss, the magic part of it will also miss as well. Pulling out the binding ball. Cost
That dark
the
sword is just
yeah, they
being
should
so bad to
really
her.
really look for a replacement if she's gonna continue fighting physically.
At this point, her finger is a good replacement. Like,
I mean, honestly, it kind of is just because of the fact that the misses are gonna be so common. She's gonna do significantly less damage with the first hit, but at least she'll be all but guaranteed to actually land that hit. And yeah, like Shoni points out, they are both cursed, which isn't doing them any favors. So
at least she doesn't miss the traps. Prison trap. Yeah, get rid of that.
I can never tell prison from warp until I hit them.
Prison is just a little bit darker blue.
Ooh, 21
Floor
from the
Zeus.
sword troll. I do like that Plushie is leveling up a good bit more than she was before. Granted, she had a Garuda last run, so she didn't necessarily need those level ups, but she's picking and choosing her battles fairly well here. She has the Noah balls. She can make quick work of that Kraken. And is that my favorite? That is. That's probably my favorite of the new spell balls. Just a quick and to the point thunderbolt to the face. What's there not to love? Oh no! Deme's saber
Oh,
put to
no.
sleep. That is very unfortunate. She does have those binding balls though. Oh, and a griffin coming up now. Oh, okay, but her saber actually woke up right away. So toss that. Yep. Turn the griffin away. Easy.
Yeah, as Panda says in the chat, Deme is struggling with the floors. It's mostly been this dark sword. She's had so many misses that's caused her to get into danger with her HP. It's just really been bad for her.
Ooh.
And the
I'm going to
elevator's
assume
definitely in
that
that
was a
bottom right.
misstep on Plushie's side. She just chucked that Garuda directly at her saber. I'm going to assume that was a misstep and not intentional, but... Ooh, only 1 damage.
Yeah, water versus wind. You don't want to take disadvantaged element
Okay,
fights
okay.
ever.
Deme in a situation here. She has a holy scroll, so you can bag her... She can bag her saber, holy scroll, and just kind of melee everything down.
Can't tone the glitch because Saber's
Yeah,
too
she
big.
can't. Actually, she can't use it with Kraken either. None of her familiars are liftable, so unfortunately, that's off the table. She can still use it as, you know, just chuck it and turn something into a frog.
I like this choice. Just let the Garuda or the Griffin handle things.
Yeah, he should make pretty short work if. Well, maybe not if he goes last. Anyway, she can still step in that holy aura and be immune for a couple hits. So even if the Griffin dies, she's still safe.
She's hopping in to help it out. And once it starts turning on that Dreaming's going to be...
Oh yeah, it's gonna make short work of that Dreaming. If she doesn't first. And oh, and she even stole the experience. Now she has a little Griffin buddy that doesn't have very much HP left, so free experience when she finds the elevator. Or just decides that it's no longer worth having it follow her around anymore. Opting to not get the kill. Okay. She might have been able to get level 10 off of that on Ko.
she might be a little bit worried about her speed and just skipped her thoughts. Because we're going on 30 minutes and she's on floor 12. She's not too far behind Plushie though. She doesn't know this, of course, but she's not too far behind.
And actually, speaking of, Plushie might actually be on this particular floor for a while, being that it's floor 16. And I do know that Plushie is quite the fan of the Azure Dreams Casino. So I'm gonna go out on a limb and say she might actually opt to hang out on this floor for a little while and see if she can maybe find a barong.
Yeah, she's done that in previous matches. She didn't do that last time. Actually, last time, once she saw the elevator, she just went. But she had Garuda. She probably thought, you know, there's no reason to actually do it. But in this case, you know, she can still get a roach fruit from it, have a Garuda, or one of many other very useful items.
Yeah, exactly. The roach fruit is definitely useful, especially because you can find Garudas on this floor, and I believe maybe a floor or two after this even. But I mean, there's still so many good items that the barong can give you outside of the roach fruit that if you find one, it's generally worth spending the time to at least run it out of MP. See what you get.
That's generally what I do. If I see, like, that's just the best way to combat the because on floor 16, to actually fight the barong is not fun. That thing has 95 HP or 96, 95 or 96, and hits pretty hard as well. So, like, on floor 16, you don't want to normally combat it. Draining its MP is the best way to deal with it in the end.
For sure. Ooh, it looks
There's
like there's a trap in that corner.
I love that she knows that.
And actually, yeah, we did find out what the egg from the lower floor was. It is just a bloom, so not particularly useful on its own. If they find another egg, perhaps it could be used as a backup familiar through shenanigans, unlocking its spell, turning it wind, or what have you. Likely we won't see that happen. But, I mean, it is a possibility.
Yeah, Deme confused this Kraken, but the Kraken still smacked Saber, so she put it up. And now there's a Noelle coming up.
She did save the Saber, though, so there is that. And now the Noelle is actually confused.
Oh, now they're locked in place. They're going to be just swinging around.
Actually has the ability to kill both of those very easily with that Noah Brid spell that she has.
I'm starting to wonder if she's taken notice to that, though.
Yeah, I was wondering that earlier with Plushie, because I believe Plushie actually opted to not use it against Kraken earlier as well. It's definitely going to take some getting used to for runners to realize the different spell names and effects and everything, so cut them some slack, you know, first round and all, first match.
I can say my first few practice sessions was very sloppy. I remember on one run I had some of the wind balls and my mind did not correlate. Okay, I have an option for Manivas with this, or Snowman or anything like that. I was still relegating to my normal standard AD mindset. So
I know for when I had first played a few of these seeds, the only thing that was really going on in my mind is, okay, I don't have any fireballs. So those blocks and all of those things, suddenly I can't deal with them reliably, and that's pretty much the only thing was really going through my head. I don't have fireballs.
Plushie's found a Bronc.
Looking
Oh no!
for maybe giving it that pita fruit and giving it a few more tosses, perhaps.
One more
In
hit
the mean,
saver.
in the
Oh
meantime,
no!
Deme has
It
caught
wasn't
up
that.
on floor 16, and oh, please wake up. Okay. Unfortunately,
That
she
troll is
lost
so
her
close to
saber
death.
there. She still has ways to get out of this. She did lose her saber. She's on very low HP, but she's still alive, and that's what matters. As far as inventory goes, she's actually looking fairly strong. So even if she does go commando, she should still have a decent chance.
She should just go ahead and. I mean, that thing might slow down the other one for one turn, but okay, she lifted it. Yeah, so that her saber almost killed that troll that's following her around. Then she holy scrolled it, so yep,
Yep.
done in one shot. I would like to.
That's not a bad play.
44, it's got 2 HP.
She definitely can't take that head on. She had to do something. So it's not bad. And she gained a level out of it. Heating up. And I believe this is the bloom egg that Plushie used a truth glass on. So she
Might not be happy with this hatch.
well, actually, I mean, she could be, though. She confused that with the Kraken and turn it wind, which will give it a 100%
Oh yeah.
stun magic as well. So it's not exactly a saber replacement, but it's not terrible either.
Yeah, it looks like she's gonna finish up the hatch.
Yeah, the initial sadness from seeing that it's a bloom.
Oh, and I want to point out that our runners, Deme straight up caught up. She is.
Oh,
They
yeah,
were
she
literally
did.
in the same room, and plus she just took the elevator. We have a match on our hands.
We do, and it is indeed the bloom. Is she gonna do anything with it? Perhaps.
Yeah, fuse it.
It
Fuse
looks
it
like
with the
she's gonna
Kraken.
go with the fusion option.
Nice.
Yes, it's very well. Actually, it's going to.
It's gonna stay as Bloom,
It's
but
still
Bloom is
gonna.
level 11,
It's
so
also
it's fine.
still gonna be water. She's gonna have to find a way to turn it wind.
Oh yeah.
That was my mistake earlier. I got the elements confused. But it is still a backup familiar in that it has the same mixture magic. It's weaker at the moment. It's only level 2 because it came from the Kraken, and she didn't use the Kraken a ton.
Oh
but
yeah. And it's gonna be
as
hard to level that up now.
Yeah, as the bloom levels up, though, it will gain additional spell levels. Instead of 1 at a time, it'll gain 2 at a time until it catches up to what it should be. So there is that, and if she can manage to make her bloom wind, the level really doesn't matter anyway. So
It's not gonna do.
she's
anything
definitely got an
right now.
uphill climb, to say the least, but it's not impossible. That she really needs to get rid of that dark sword. It's caused her no end of pain.
And that mixture magic only hit for 1 on the second hit, anyways. Okay, she's showing
There
that.
we go. Yeah. Make quick work out of that Maneva. She should be able to kill these in 1 hit with just a dark sword. Or okay, yeah. I'll say maybe not because of the high ground, but Electric Orlando. We're hoping, Sand. We are certainly hoping. Ooh, Plushie not looking great right now.
Trust in the break obstacle.
Yeah,
Noah
she
Brid,
can. That Saber should be able to
spider.
take on the Wee Dog on its own. Noah Rise or Brid, the spider. Pick up the ticket.
Yes.
There you go. Yeah, that was a pretty nasty situation. And
Look at
she
that.
just
57.
Yeah, she just made pretty quick work out of that. And that's what we were talking about. The Saber is maybe not the best physical fighter on its own, but its ability makes it quite formidable. Yeah, the break obstacle.
Oh no, Deme.
Oh no, Orlando.
She can't survive this hit.
No, yeah, and that's Deme down on floor 19. I believe Plushie actually technically wins already because she got to 19
and
first,
she's
but
already
she
got the elevator.
actually just got to 20 as well. So that is game 2 and match for DamagedPlushie. We will see if the runners wish to do a friendly third, and if not, we will get them in for a bit of an interview if they wish to do so. But both runners played incredibly well. I'm very pleased with the way that this matchup went. And is Plushie gonna get anything good? Just a decurse scroll, nothing particularly great. I mean, she is technically cursed, so I guess there's that. Replace that shield with another curse shield if she wants to. Yeah, exactly, Panda. Deme was behind, I don't know, 5 or 6 floors at one point and caught up pretty quickly to the point that they were literally in the same room. On the same floor and all of that. Both runners played incredibly well. No,
so we have
this would be a friendly third food, as we already have a declared winner. Unfriendly third is for the 1-1 scenarios. I like where you're.
there's not going to be a friendly third. Demi.
Okay.
Said Tower's telling her to stop.
Fair enough. Let me see if I can get.
They're ready for the interviews.
Yeah, I am not seeing the interview invite button anywhere. Let me just make a invite here real quick. Plushie and Deme. Alright, invite should be sent. They should be here any moment. If the chat has any questions for either of the runners, now is the time.
Hello!
Hey, Deme. Thank you for playing today.
Thank you. That was certainly an experience.
Yeah. And Plushie, welcome.
Hello.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Both of you played incredibly well today. I was very happy with the way that the matchup went.
Yeah, it's one of those things where, like, you know what? I can say you deserve basically no blame for how that played out.
I've been curious since I saw you typing that.
So my first run, there was on floor, I think 32 or so.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, a room with a sleeping glacier, an egg, and like. So I'm like, okay, I will go grab the egg, and then I'll abduct away. because it's asleep, right?
Right, exactly.
There's a sleep trap right in front of the egg.
No.
And then I'm dead. On the second run, so after I lost the saber to another sleep trap where I could do nothing, but it ended before I died. I then hit a paralysis trap and lost the bloom that I had hatched to replace the saber, and also lost my life because I could do nothing.
Ooh.
Yeah, traps were definitely the bane of your existence in that second seed, Deme. That was...
Yep.
It's just one of the things with Azure Dreams. Everything can be going perfect, and then that one trap can just end everything, and there's nothing you can do about it.
That's the joy and the sorrow of Azure Dreams. Sometimes the tower just tells you no.
I thought I was gonna die on floor 2 to a blinder trap. I'm like, I do not want this shame upon me. I died in floor 2 on another day. Let's not do this today.
That could happen.
It
Heck,
could.
If say that later sleep trap had just been earlier, it might have also played that way.
The floor two deaths are just basically initiation to becoming a runner. Everybody's got to go through it. Once you've gone through it, you're officially a runner.
Mm-hmm.
Plushie, we actually have a question from you, or for you, from chat.
Okay.
How did you feel being on floor 32 at level 4?
Felt good.
we were talking about throughout your Garuda run about how it was actually kind of an interesting dynamic, because the way that Garuda typically plays out, you don't really have to fight anything. But with having its spell unlocked and starting with water, getting those few levels on your 1 through 5 search kind of changes the dynamic that you can kind of fight things to an extent.
Oh yeah.
And I mean, you got up to level 4, and that was kind of it. I think Deme, you got up to like level 9 or 10 or so.
Yeah. I took a little bit of time on the fire floors to get a little extra security, but after a certain point, and I was pretty satisfied with my inventory on that one, if that sleep trap had not just ruined my day.
Yeah, the inventory was great on that one, and I had so many pita fruit. I was like, well, Garuda's never going to run out of battery, and I don't have that much experience with the Garuda, so when I was looking over to see how much MP it had, and was like, oh, this thing is not burning through MP as much as I thought it would, and I have...
No,
I
that
don't know
thing
how many
about
pita fruit.
Garuda.
There were so many pita fruit.
Duct is crazy cheap for how broken it is.
I'm like, oh, this is chaos. What a lovely way to start.
Right.
Yeah, and I don't... Did either of you actually hatch the egg on the first seed? I don't...
No.
Plushie did.
Oh yeah, I got the zoo.
That was a zoo.
Oh yeah, it was the zoo. It did. We were actually talking about that as well. If you had hatched the zoo, fusing it into your Garuda, it would have made it wind again, which kind of sucked.
Yeah.
But you would also be immune to paralyzed traps.
Yeah.
Or like any form of paralysis. So
I weighed that and I was like, I'm gonna stick water. I've heard too much of bomb traps. Been told enough times don't run.
Yeah, that's one of those things that could just end. I feel like it might have been a septic seed in spirit.
I tried my best.
GG Revan. Yeah, I looked up and noticed I was level 4 and I'm like, oh, I'm paper. This is lovely. At least I know if I get hit, I'm dead. So that's like, you have sureties in life sometimes, and that's one of them.
Yep. I have a question for Plushie. How excited were you to see Saber come out of that egg?
I was so mad. I was cursing Revan. I hate
That was
Cyber.
actually Septic's doing. He was saying that he wanted to see a saber specifically, and you didn't. You started with the crack, and he's like, "Well, it could still be in the egg."
It
And
was.
yeah, there it was. And yeah, then you both ended up using it. You actually fused it with the Kraken right away,
Because
and
Kraken is Garbo, and I just figured I'd
yeah,
get it out of my inventory.
uh,
However, it was funny. I think
I
I accidentally
ended
threw a
up.
monster into it, and whenever I threw the monster into my monster on accident, it went bzz. I was like, what went on there? Was there an invisible stealth? It's not stealth levels. Oh, I'm dumb. I threw it into my monster. Let's yeet again.
In my case, I ended up fusing the Kraken into the bloom that I hatched because yada yada yada. A paralysis trap my nemesis. No, wait, that one was sleep.
Electroflower.
Electroflower.
I'm actually surprised
Man, this
that
was a
Saber's still
day
alive.
for D-Wall, wasn't it?
it
This
was.
last seed was just all D-Wall all the time.
D-Wall?
The spell,
The saber spell.
the Kraken, the Saber, and the Bloom all have as their spell, natively or unlocked. It's all the same spell.
I was thinking of the orb that I threw into the Barong. I was like, does that have something that I don't know about? And I threw something into the Barong that I shouldn't have.
Nah.
So many things.
That said, you know what I was hoping with all of the D-Wall options I had defined in that second seed, but sadly did not happen? A wind seed.
Yeah, they were actually really, really uncommon in these. You had sea seeds and even a couple light seeds, but there was maybe one wind seed that we saw throughout the whole thing.
No
A couple
meta
of
wind
seeds in the first match, and I remember because it's like, oh, this is useless to me. Goodbye.
Garuda changes the mindset of how that whole. I'm like,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
what are we doing? It has a spell. I don't know what to do with this. Let's see how it goes. I'm gonna die. I'm level 4.
Yeah, if you were
really fun.
unaware, that D-Wall spell, that blade mixture magic that does like the 2-hit, if it were wind, it would just paralyze everything, and then everything would be paralyzed.
Oh yeah.
And it would have been a lot of fun for someone else to be suffering the paralysis this time. Game.
You're gonna need some revenge coming up for them.
I'm gonna need some revenge coming up. We'll see where I can get it sometime.
All right, Septic, do you have any other questions that you would like to ask?
I can think of, really. Just
All right,
GG to the runners.
Yeah, I think that's
Plushie. Go forth and conquer in my name.
I'll do my best.
all right, and that's gonna be it for us today, everyone. Thank you for stopping by and watching this tournament match. Deme, Plushie, thank you both for joining and playing for us today. You both did incredibly well, and should feel good about your results here.
Thank you.
Thank you to SpeedGaming for allowing us to be hosted on your channel. Thanks, and the biggest thank you to chat, because you guys make this fun and possible. So we do have more matches coming up this weekend. Let me open up the bracket or the
We've
schedule
got
here
one pretty early tomorrow.
Yeah, we have.
We've got one later.
We have Shuzo versus Wooga tomorrow at 8 o'clock Eastern time, and 8 a.m. And we have Septic versus Sand Knight tomorrow at 3 p.m. Eastern. So keep your eyes open for those, and we'll see you then. Have a good day, everybody.
Thank you, everybody. Bye-bye.
See ya.
Bye, everyone.